Aw, shit. Here we go again.
Welcome to the Sloppy Book Club podcast. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Celese. And welcome to season 3, episode 7. Right?
Right? Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's how I start all our videos, right?
We'll figure it out. We'll write it in if it's wrong.
Right. We'll edit that part out, or try to at least. Anyways, this is season 3, episode 7, and it's gonna be like a cute little episode. We have some books we want to review and talk about. Jenny has a drink she wants to share, so we'll get started.
And by cute, I think you only mean your book is going to be cute because mine isn't.
Oh, okay.
Like
I
at
don't
all.
remember which book you're gonna review.
I don't know if I told you which book I was going to do.
No, you didn't.
Okay, so let's
yeah, mine will be cute. Hers will not, I guess.
Mine is not. It was great, but it wasn't cute.
Okay.
So my drink is Monaco and it's Sun Crush tequila cocktail. I'm pretty sure I've had this brand, but I don't think I've had this.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I'm hoping it's a tequila sunrise type of drink because that's what it looks like, right?
It does. It really does.
It's definitely a tequila sunrise.
Okay. You got what you wanted.
I did get what I wanted. Perfect.
Sounds like a great start to the episode.
Yeah.
So should we do cutesy first or not cutesy first?
It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Mine is mine's pretty sad.
How about we start sad and then uplift everyone?
Perfect.
Okay, we'll do it that way.
All right. So my book review, I'm going to keep it spoiler free. I contemplated doing it with spoilers, but I feel like people should read this book.
Right.
Like it's definitely worth reading and it was written very well.
Okay.
So it's called Ever Since by I don't know if it's Alena Bruzas or Alena Bruzas.
Okay.
And has definite trigger warnings. So there's grooming, sexual assault, rape, phobia, and child abuse. So it's definitely very, very heavy. And it's basically about speaking your truth after trauma. So, and I actually listened to the audiobook and I listened to it twice. My dumbass. Like I was literally
I could listen to it twice. Especially it being triggering like that. I don't think and then you listen to it. I feel like that's so different than reading it. I feel like listening to it, that had to be tough.
Because when you listen to it, it's like so like immersive, like you feel it more. And I was washing dishes and I was just like I couldn't even see what I was washing because I was crying. Yes. And then I re-listened to it and then I, because sometimes you feel like you miss things when you're listening to an audiobook. And it was just as good the second time around. It was perfection. It was written really, really well. So it's basically about Virginia. She's 17 years old and she has this close group of friends that she grew up with. They all live kind of in the same area. And out of all of them, she's definitely or seems to be the most or has the most troubled upbringing. So like all her friends have like, a mom and dad that care about them or, a single parent that cares about them and is there for them. But she has an abusive father who abuses her and her mom. And her mom just kind of like is there and deals with it, I guess, and doesn't really protect her. So she kind of alludes to like her dad constantly throwing parties at her house, and she sort of hints at someone ending up in her room multiple times kind of thing. So which I feel like contributed, like all that happened to her contributed to the way that people view her, even though they didn't really know what was happening. She was always sort of the person that they were like, oh, she's a slut, she's promiscuous, whatever. And these are her friends. Like her friends talk about her like that.
Wow.
And she sort of like just accepts it. Like she rolls with the punches. And leans into it and does
Mhm.
things that kind of prove them right, I guess you could
Okay.
say. So long story short, Virginia loves her friends. She's always with them. She feels like they're like her backboard or backbone or whatever you want to call it, because they're her support system, even though they're
Mhm.
kind of shitty sometimes. And she basically starts hooking up with one of her friend's boyfriends and also has a crush on another friend's boyfriend.
Oh,
So and that's exactly what I mean when it's like she sort of like leans into what people are saying about her.
right.
And
So if you're saying it about me, I might as well live up to it.
pretty much, yes. And I think that was like the author's like plan to make this like hateable character,
Mhm.
because you're like reading this book and you're like, well, why is she doing that? Like, I mean, I get why she's doing it, but why? Like, you read her inner dialogue and you're like, okay, she knows what she's doing is wrong, but she's
Wrong.
still doing it anyway. But
Mhm.
so her friend Thalia, who she is hooking up with her boyfriend, one day she catches Virginia and this guy Rumi, who happens to be like her closest friend's boyfriend. She kind of sees them and she feels like they're a little too close for comfort, and she sort of loses it. She starts calling her a slut. They kind of break up their friendship a little bit, and from then on everything's sort of falling apart. Like all her friendships are falling apart. Poppy disappears, who's like her closest friend, and
Mhm.
nobody knows why. So she's feeling alone. The only person that's sort of there for her is Rumi, who is Poppy's boyfriend, because he doesn't know where Poppy is either. So they kind of connected in that way. Like, okay, well, she's gone now, so I guess let's hang out, sort of. So this is when we meet Rumi's sister, and she's 11 years old, and we start to find things out about her. So she is tutoring her. Virginia's tutoring Ruby's little sister, and she starts to like talk about things and mentioning this person that she knows and that it's her friend, and she wants to sneak out to meet him. And one day she sort of figures out, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. This sounds like what I kind of went through when I grew up. And she realizes that Rumi's sister's being groomed, pretty much.
Mm.
Yes. I'm going to stop it there
Right.
because it gets super heavy after that. And that's when
I
I
can only
started crying.
imagine.
Like, that's when the waterworks were like, yeah,
And the sister you said it was 11.
11. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
tough.
Yeah.
That's
And
a hard
that
read.
it's so hard. And like, it's such a super hard read, but it was written so well. Like, you know how I said, like, I felt like the author meant to make this character like hateable.
Mhm.
I understood her. Like everything she detailed out and like why she did the things she did, like everything was like so perfectly written and seamless that I felt like I understood why she did the way the things that she did. But if like I saw them, I would be like, yeah, she's a slut. That's crazy. Like, why are you doing that? But I understood her. Like I
Mm.
felt everything that she was going through. It was such a good book, but it's so sad. So only read it when you're okay.
So, I was gonna ask about the ending, but I won't, because that's something like I don't want to allude to. So I'll just okay. Because I was gonna say, like, does it end at least kind of on a good note? But then I feel like that you should read it to find out like how it ends.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's sort of hard to explain.
I
It,
could imagine this is a
it's
hard
yeah, it's not a happy book
book.
whatsoever. Like none
Okay.
of it is happy, regardless. So, I know, but yeah, it's definitely worth the read. It's a really good book, and I
Mhm.
immediately bought the physical book because I definitely want it. But
Mhm.
it was definitely worth the read.
Was this your first time reading from this particular author?
Yes, it's her debut novel.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good. Yeah. It was only like 250 pages,
Oh,
and
that's not bad.
yeah, so you blow right through it, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was pretty good.
Mhm. So the narrator must have made it even like the narration of everything must have been like 10
It
times
was
better.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it like Virginia?
Yep.
Is it
Virginia,
like is strictly her point of view or
all
is it
her point
like
of view.
okay.
Yep. All her point of view. So it's like, I think that was purposely because she was feeling everything, like we felt it with her, like everything that her friends were saying about her, the way the guys looked at her or talked about her, things like that. Like, I think that was purposely
So
good.
when her friends talked about her, like they would say it in her face or like would she overhear it?
It's more of like a feeling. So
Okay.
like it was like a group of, I want to say it's like five of them total, like close friends, but they had a huge group of people from school and they would all party together. They would drink, smoke, whatever. So she had Poppy, who was like her, I would say her best friend, who never really said anything. She was like the most supportive towards her.
Mhm.
And then I think it was more from Thalia, who she was sleeping with her boyfriend, who would say things to her after she was like already fed up with her, but it was
Right.
like the third party friends that kind of
Okay.
looked at her certain ways. Like people would see her with Thalia's boyfriend, like he would go and like grab her and nobody would say anything, but they all kind of knew that it was happening, so they looked
Okay.
at her a certain way. So it was like that.
I
Nobody
just
ever like
wasn't sure if it was like she'll go to a party and then like when she walked into the room, people would just be quiet or just look and stare kind of thing.
it was a little bit like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds really good though. And
It,
for it to be a debut book, like that's pretty amazing.
it
I know
is.
like
Yeah.
the theme isn't ideal and it's a hard read and things like that, but for it to resonate and to really like stick with you and give you all that emotion, it's great for a first time author, you know? You want
Yeah.
that for your reader to get
Right.
captured and feel something from it.
Yeah. And like, you know how you see things about books and people are like, oh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna cry.
Mhm.
Usually I'm the person that doesn't if I'm
Right.
expecting it as well. Or like it's really hard to make me cry from a book. Like there
Mhm.
I could name the five books that have made me cry my entire life. This
Mhm.
was definitely one of them.
Oh wow. I cry all the time, so
Oh,
anything to make me
I know
cry.
you cried throughout this whole book. I know
I
for
would just
sure.
be like sobbing, oh, why am I reading this?
That was me washing dishes, like trying to see the dishes, and the tears are like welling up into my glasses.
I could just imagine you washing dishes and crying. I would have to stop and like go to my room and sob for a
It's
bit.
funny. Nobody was home. I was fine.
Okay. So no one witnessed that.
Nobody witnessed it. No. Mike would literally tell me to stop reading it. He would come in and be like, "Why are you reading that then?"
That's what Angel does too. He's just like, one, he doesn't get it. And then two, he's just be like, what? Like, just stop. Why are you like torturing yourself?
Funny.
Because I want to know what happened. That's my reasoning all the time. Because I want to know what happens.
Yes.
Well, good book. Will make you cry.
Yes.
Not a happily ever after. Might not
No.
be in any kind of way.
No.
Well, if you're looking for a happily ever after and something cheerful to brighten your day, I have a like feel good holiday season book. I always like to read a lot of holiday books before, like Christmas and things like that. I like to get into the motion of it. If I had a fake tree, it would be up now, but we don't. We go and get a real tree. So nothing makes me feel better than a good holiday book. So I found one on Audible. I actually listened to this. So it's funny that you did too. Um,
No.
it's called You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Toni Shiloh. Um, it gave me very much like Hallmark holiday movie vibes where it's kind of like cheesy one-liners, very lighthearted, very innocent, and like a feel good, happily ever after romance. Like you want that in a good like holiday book.
Yeah.
And I love cheesy Hallmark Lifetime holiday movies. So this kind of
Me
like
too.
got me feeling great and into the holiday spirit. So this book follows Star. She's coming home. She hasn't been home in like years. She moved away to New York, got a job, and she's been there ever since. But she recently got laid off, and now she's like returning home. And all her siblings are like thriving in their lives and careers. So she doesn't feel great. She's just like, everyone's doing awesome. And here I am coming back home, jobless, not in
Mm-hmm.
a relationship, single. So like everything's not going her way.
That's such a like common theme in a lot of books like these.
Yes. And let's add in some family drama.
Of
So
course.
to make things worse, she has to help out her sister who's getting married, and preparing for it. And it's around Christmas Eve, I believe, is when her wedding is supposed to happen. So she goes back home around Thanksgiving time. So this takes place around Thanksgiving and Christmas into the new year. So she's trying to like help her sister. And you would think, why would that be worse in the situation? Well, her sister is marrying her ex-boyfriend. So he wound up breaking up with Star to be with her sister years ago.
What?
Yes,
Why is she helping her?
because that's her sister. And her mom
I
is
don't think that's a good enough reason.
making her like she
No,
wasn't even going to be part of the wedding party. Like she didn't even want her sister to be like part of her wedding. Like Star, her sister was just like, I didn't even want you part of the wedding. Mom made me because
no,
you're my sister.
no. That's an automatic no. Absolutely not. I know who the favorite child is now.
Yeah, pretty much. She could do no wrong,
Oh
honestly.
my God.
She's
Yeah.
bratty. She's like high maintenance. Like, she was annoying. But I feel like that was the intention.
Okay.
Um, and like Star, she's the youngest out of all her siblings. So everyone kind of had someone growing up sibling wise that they can like connect to. And since she was so much younger, she kind of had to like find her own friends that were outside of her family. So in the beginning of the book, you feel like this disconnect between her and her siblings. But then there's like these little moments, like especially with like her brothers, where he's almost, you could tell like he feels like she feels disconnected from anyone, and he's trying to like bring her in and trying to tell her like, you are loved by the family and things like that, like just little moments. Yeah, her brother was super super sweet, and it's because of him that her life gets a little bit better while she's home, because he kind of like tells his childhood best friend Waylon to kind of like, hey, my sister's back and she really
Oh,
needs a friend, and kind of like pushes him to like be her friend. But Waylon was kind of already checking her out, because he was like, wow, this isn't the little girl that I remember before she left.
okay.
So there's an age gap. I think it's like 10 years or something. So he's like, oh, she's grown up. It's a dual point of view. So it's cool because we get Waylon's point of view and we get Star's point of view. And Waylon is a cute, funny, very attentive kind of guy. And he's going through his own struggles. He recently lost his mom, and his mom left her store to him, and it's a Christmas shop. So he's trying to decide whether he wants to continue his mother's legacy or sell it, because he did get some offers, and some really good offers. So he's like, do I want to stay here and work here for the rest of my life and just, work this store? Wasn't something that he was wanting to do. But then with Star coming back, he's hoping, you know, if he does stay, she'll stay kind of thing. And Star is like, okay, he's the owner of this store now, but you know, I'm interviewing for jobs back in New York. So it's a very much like, do we stay together? Do we not? We both really like each other. We want to see where this goes, but at the same time, it's big life decisions. So it's
Right.
like, you know, I don't want to stay just for a man. I don't want to stay just for, you know, a woman. Like, what's the benefit? Where do you see yourself kind of
Yeah.
thing?
And the benefit is he owns a Christmas store, so you'll be happy all the time.
For
I
her.
feel like anytime you're in like the Christmas like decorations and stuff,
Mhm,
everyone's always happy.
mhm. But when he got it, I guess there were some, like, it was struggling. And
Mm.
Star is very good at like, what was she? She was like a, not a journalist. Oh, I forget what it is, but not a promoter. I forget the
Like
job title,
marketing
but
and stuff.
maybe marketing. Yeah, it was like marketing. So she helps him like with the displays, with changing the store's name and like really making it better and making it his own kind of, you know, like putting his stamp on it. Um, like she was saying that there, like it was so disorganized, you just didn't know where anything was when she first, you know, got into the store. So she like helped with that. Social media, she made sure he had it. So yeah, I would say it was like marketing. She was like in that kind of business. But it was really cute. I love the little one-liners he would say to her, and she would kind of like chuckle and laugh, like you're so corny kind of thing. But I love that kind of like
Cute. Yeah,
relationship.
I
It's
did too.
very
A
cute.
little banter.
Yeah.
There.
So it has the tropes like family drama, brother's best friend, age gap. Like I said, it's a dual point of view, so you get a little bit of both of their perspectives. Um, Interesting enough, this falls under what I didn't even know, like Christian romance. I've never like come across it before. I just saw a really cute like book title and, you know, the cover of the book, and I was like, oh, this looks so cute. And then later on I find out that the author is actually a Christian romance author, and it didn't click for me until like I read about that, and I was like, oh, that's why they like talked about God briefly, and they were always like, oh, I pray, you know, this would happen for me or this would happen for someone. But like it, to me, for me, it wasn't like overpowering. So like I didn't, that wasn't the focus for me. For me, it
Yeah.
was their relationship. And for me, when they did talk about like God or, you know, the power of prayer, things like that, you know, sometimes to yourself when you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, I hope this goes for me, or, you know, I hope God is on my side kind of thing. Like, who doesn't do that from time to time? So I didn't like, for me, I was just like, oh, yeah, I would pray for that too.
Funny.
I didn't really feel like it was overpowering. So I know some people may not like it because of those kind of like
Mm.
for that purpose and you know what they're talking about. But for me, it was like really innocent, and like I said, it was a quick book. I feel like it didn't talk a lot about it until only towards the end when they're like trying to decide what they want to do. Then they're like, oh God, please help me make the right decision. And I'm like, I'm always asking for the universe to give me the right decision on what
So
to
it
do.
was very subtle, but
Yeah, I
question,
feel like it was. It
was there
wasn't like,
spice?
no,
None. Okay.
none.
Not
Absolutely.
even like closed door, nothing. Okay.
It, like I said,
I think
very,
the people need to know that.
yeah, that's
People
true.
would like to know that.
Yeah. It's honestly in a Hallmark movie, you don't get that.
No, no, you don't.
So it's very Hallmark, innocent, really lighthearted romance.
Hmm.
Like they kiss and, you know, that's about it. There's no like burn of desire and like
Okay.
yearning. There's none of that.
So
Yeah.
definitely cozy
It's
Hallmark.
very cozy romance. Yes,
Okay.
that's a good way of putting it too. Very cozy, warm, like have your little cup of cocoa when you're, reading it or listening to it. Have your little holiday cookies. This is not what you drink wine to.
I was gonna say that. I said bake holiday cookies while you're listening to it.
Yes.
Mood,
Mhm. So like
maybe.
if you want to feel good, innocent, quick holiday romance, this is the book for you. Absolutely. You'll enjoy it.
Okay. And then if you want to cry, read my book.
Right. You could have the best of both worlds. You can cry and be sad and devastated. And then right after, you just go and
Bake
have
some
a nice
cookies.
little cute romance. But
Yeah.
isn't that kind of like what you do with like scary movies? At least for
Yeah.
me, if I watch something scary, I have to watch something like
Yeah.
butterflies and flowers and like,
Yeah. You need that palate cleanser.
yes.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can have your sad, not happily ever after, and then afterwards, go and find that happily ever after in this
Yep.
book.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
like, it was cute. So
Good.
check it out. And it's great before the holiday season. It'll get you in the mood. You'll probably want to go and get your tree and light your tree. So I say get it.
Awesome.
Read.
Good.
I
Read
can't wait to
it.
read more.
Huh?
Honestly, I even looked to see if she had other books because with her brother in particular, I forget his name. Um, when he's kind of like pushing Waylon or whatever, you can tell like her brother's going through it too because their dad wants him to take over like their business. I don't know if it's like finance or lawyer or whatever. It's like a corporate kind of job. And I'm like, I would love a story about him and maybe him finding like, his love story, but I didn't see anything because
Oh,
she has a lot of siblings. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll be like all the siblings.
standalone series type
Yeah,
thing.
but I didn't see anything. I was like,
Oh, that's
oh,
too bad.
because some of the characters are really good. Even the snotty little bratty sister, well, older sister, she's not little sister, the older sister, even her, like what she kind of goes through in the book, and I didn't even I won't tell you. But like I would like to see like her perspective on certain situations and her life. It's just like it opened up the door for a lot of little stories, which I found interesting because I kind of like craved learning more about her siblings.
You should message the author.
Like, are
That's
you
what
gonna
I do. If I want something else, I'm like, hey, so any chance that this is gonna happen?
I'm so nervous. I
Ah!
can't. I don't know.
Oh my
I don't
God.
think I've ever messaged. Oh, did I message her? Did she message me? I'm trying to remember with Kennedy Ryan. She's the only besides EJ Mello too. But Kennedy Ryan is one that I've definitely went back and forth with a couple of times about her books because I'm like, I can't believe this is
I'm
so
I'm
good.
constantly in all these authors' DMs.
Oh,
If I
you're
love their book, I'm in there. This one that I just spoke about today, I messaged her this morning.
mm-hmm.
Mhm. I was
Oh,
like, I absolutely loved it. This was such a great book. I can't wait to talk about it.
oh my gosh. I can't. I'll be too scared. Ooh.
They're people.
I know, but
I
like
think for me, it's the opposite. If I saw them up close, like face to face, I would like curl up and like die. But I guess it's easy
feel
enough
like
to just
there's
DM
a
them.
screen between me
There's
and
a screen. I can say what I can say, and then I can edit if I sound like a dum dum
you.
and send it.
That's true. That's probably easier
For
because
sure.
then if they read it, they read it. If they don't, they don't. It's just out there.
Yeah, definitely. I've messaged authors and they don't say anything. but it's out there.
They know how you feel.
You know how I feel.
Maybe I will do that because it, like I said, it was interesting. And like her brother, I was just like, he needs somebody in his life and he needs to tell his dad off. Because
You might help her out. She might not even be thinking about that. And then she's like, oh, maybe I should. If there's interest, why not?
There was a part where like I think it was like Thanksgiving dinner or something, and they ate, and the dad was like, okay, I gotta get back to work. And then he called the brother over and he was like, let's go, kind of thing. And I'm just like, dang, like, he can't even enjoy a day off. Like just because you want to work through the holidays, kind of thing. So it would be good to get like his perspective on things and for him to find love. Because I don't think he was married or dating anyone. Because it didn't mention a wife. No. So that would have been good. That would have been good. All
Maybe
right.
you'll
I'll
find
message her.
do it.
I'll message. Let's see what happens. But yeah, that's it for our episode.
A good happy book, a sad book.
Yep.
So thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.